Hello, everybody. Well, good evening from my end. Might be different times where you are. Warm and sincere greetings to you, whatever the time happens to be. Welcome to Live with Auntie Ya, well, Auntie Ya, Sister Ya, and Amma. We are going to have a read of Auntie Ya's phenomenal book. So this is Reflections for a Thirsty Soul. And this is probably the first time for a lot of you that you get to see snippets of the book. You get to read the book. You get to hear Antia's explanation of why she wrote it. And we will discuss how that applies to individual life. And if you happen to be somebody who wants to read the book, then we will put my number out. Antia will put out my WhatsApp number and her WhatsApp number. You can WhatsApp either number. When you WhatsApp, please tell us your name, send us your email address, and we will send you the book and you can read. Well, we can send you a snippet from the book, the bit we are reading. You can read along. You can tell us your interpretations of it. You can give us your experience. And yeah, after we finish reading, we'll talk about which sections we'll read later. Hi, Shayla. Hi, Says. Good to see you. And those of you who are on and want to purchase the book before we read, so you have the whole complement to read, the link is right there at the top. Antia, could you show them the link to the Amazon so people who want to purchase it to read can purchase it and we can read along? So, as you know, I am from Britpro. My English is not a talent. So, reading is not going to be something I'll do a lot of. I have Sister Yabuatma, Sister Yarafil, who will do the reading for me. And when she reads, we will interrogate the reading. And then we'll go to Antia to find out the real reasons why she wrote it, her thought process for writing it, her intention for the audience, and see if we are connecting with it the right way. So, Sister, may we start, please?
Thank you, Amma. British English speaker. Anyway, okay, so there, yes.
Professor.
So the first one is praise to the Most High. Thou art worthy to be praised, O Lord. Be thou exalted, O Most High. We praise your holy name. Awesome are you, King of glory. O glorious and faithful King, we bow before you in exuberant worship. Blessed are you, mighty one. Early in the morning will our praise rise to you. O Holy One of Israel, we give you honor, we give you the praise and adoration, for there is none like you. There is no end to our praise to the unending God. Receive our never-ending praise, majesty on high. To you be all the glory. Indeed, from the rising of the sun to the place where it sets, the name of the Lord is to be praised.
Okay. Very well read. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Antia, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was your intention for writing it this way? What was your actual intention for the audience?
Oh, okay. A lot of times when I write, I just write like with an idea in mind or a post. And then sometimes I just want to praise God. So, you've read a few Psalms and then it speaks to you. So you pick from it and then throw it all together. But I'm just trying to illustrate that God is worthy of our praise. We tend to take it for granted, and I know that a lot of people, not everybody is a believer. There's other faiths, but even as believers, we are not, we are not, the busyness of life just stops us from even engaging in an intimate relationship. So it was just my way of just bringing everything to the forefront that, we serve a majestic God. He's the creator and this is who he is, and he deserves our adoration. Whether we choose to give it or not, he's still worthy of it. Like you're not giving it to him does not take away from him. He's still God.
Mm. Mm. That's very deep because it was one of the things that I noticed. It's actually almost an invitation for somebody to pray.
Yes.
And especially if you are somebody who might not know how to pray.
Mm-hmm.
Very eloquently written one.
Mm-hmm.
If pray along those for a bit. It will school you on how to formulate your own prayers.
Yeah.
Reading things like that will lead you towards articulating better, I have to say, your maker. And that was really profound for me. The other question I want to ask is, who were you actually intending to read along or to pray along?
Well, it's to anybody. Like the book, yes, somebody might say, oh, this book is just full of religion or Christian. There's inspirational stuff. So this here is to anybody because people are searching. And
Yeah.
if I might take the liberty of putting it this way, that even those of us who have this treasure, we may not even appear, I'll say appear, just to qualify it, appear to value it.
Yeah.
And so there's others from other faiths even who get drawn to God. And this is one of the ways, like, so it can be anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. Like someone might say, oh, I don't believe in those kinds of things, but they might read it and then reconsider and go, okay, I need to think about this a little bit further. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Those are the people who struck me a little bit more because I realized that if you are somebody who's eloquent in praying, it is beautiful to read. It is a great reminder of how a good prayer might go. But even more profound for somebody who might not be that conversant with prayer. A lot of people pray, they just don't know how to do it. People tell me all the time, oh, I wish I could pray like such a body, or I wish I knew exactly how to structure the prayer. I am worried about not being able to pray the right way. I think my prayers are a bit limited and so on. And for people like that, when you read this, when you learn how to pray via this channel, then it's a great way in to learn how to do it the way most people want to. So that's very good. Sister,
My camera is giving me a bit of problems. I'm still here and I'm trying to log on another device.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I could still read though while I try to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just going to say the picture you have is beautiful anyway.
Thank you.
And
Your beautiful face.
I was going to add one qualifier, like even for me, just writing this, I'm not sitting here saying I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
I'm on a journey, and for me, these are the insights that I get. So, in writing them, I'm just thinking it might help somebody who's been in the same situation that I've been, because you start from somewhere. When I started, I couldn't put string two words together. I will tell you, let me tell you a funny story. One time in one of the churches, our people that I was a Mercu leader, women's leader. And so, of course, our people, every time there's beef going on. So something happened and some people were very upset. They were leaving. And the insult that the lady used to insult me is, a Mercu leader or Nimun Paibo. Yeah, and so the Sofmami told her that Auntie Ya is not somebody who allows anybody to put her down. So what had happened is that another lady also came to talk to me about it, thinking that when you don't know anything, those were the early stages of my faith journey. When you don't know anything, everybody think they can come and put you down. So this other lady also came along trying to tell me something, and it involved the person who said I couldn't pray. And what I told her is this: I said, yes, that person, she can pray. When she can pray up a storm like Jesus, God is going to descend right now. But when I look at her character, will I follow her? No. And so the individual who came to talk to me, she had no rebuttal. She had nothing, so that was my answer. So I'm just using the story to illustrate that we start from somewhere and then we grow. So we're all on a journey.
Oh, we sure do. And you know what has actually struck me? And it hadn't even struck me before. It's only struck me now that we are reading. The book initially, when I first saw it, I read it as an adult book. I was expecting the book to be suitable for an adult who's looking for a bit of comfort, somebody who's a bit lost and looking for foundations. I was anticipating people like that would appreciate it, but it finally struck me today that it's a very handy book for preteens and teenagers and kids from that age range upwards, because a lot of us are still trying to teach our kids how to pray.
Mhm.
You should ask your mom, teach me how to pray, and you don't know what to say to them. And for those kind of parents who have that predicament, I think we found a solution here, right here for you. You can let your child read it, and your child can see the structure, and they can see the structure from a few pieces, and the child themselves will formulate a way of praying of their own, but only using this as a scaffold. And I had not thought about this one before. Has anybody mentioned that one to you before, Auntie?
No, no,
Hmm.
not so far.
So that's a new audience I hadn't thought about. It's definitely a
Yeah.
new audience we need to
Mm.
explore. Audience who might be the parents who would pass it on to the children. But I think the children themselves, if we look for children looking to understand their faith, children own it, because by teenage, they don't just follow parents to church anymore. Those who will stay in the church, they need to find their own religion. They need to work out their own Christianity. They really need to understand a relationship, a personal relationship with God for themselves, not just because mom takes them to Sunday school anymore. At this point, they are looking for connectivity.
Right.
And it's a very powerful one. I have a young man that way in my house who's looking to read and to explore and to discover for himself. And yeah, he would be a perfect candidate for the book. I hadn't thought about it beforehand.
Yeah. There's another group that I thought about as you were speaking too, is the young adults, because you know how we hear the statistics about
Yeah,
when people go off to college, they lose their faith. So
yeah,
those young adults, that age range, they walk away, because if you haven't had freedom before and you go to college,
yeah.
everything is open. And if you're not careful, you're not grounded, you know. So it's an easy read that it would speak to anybody. And I think those groups are, it's critical that they be reached. Yeah.
I think so. I think so. And I think the material is just so perfectly targeted for them. It's an accidental discovery, but I am very glad.
Accidental.
Accidental
Here,
discovery for
here,
me.
here, you accidental discovery.
Yeah, it hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
And when it hit me, I'm like, oh, wow, yes, 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 yes. Obviously, it suits them. So, Sister, I like to come to you. I love the way you read. It is so refreshing to hear you read.
Um, okay, so
And
with
it's
this
not
one,
compromised anymore.
am I going to read it by paragraphs or like the whole chapter?
If we did the whole section of Nailed It,
Okay.
then we can take it in sections. Hi,
Okay.
Sister Sylvia. Hi, everybody. If you don't have the book and you want this particular section we are reading, then do WhatsApp. Auntie, I will pop the number on the screen. Do WhatsApp Auntie and ask for it. Those of you who have my number, you can ask me and I'll send it to you. When you contact Auntie or myself, we are asking for only one piece of information. Share your email address so that the next time Auntie has snippets and stuff like that to put out on the mailing list, you are also on the receiving end of it. Yeah. So send your email address. Tell me you want the extract we are reading, and we can send it to you. Or you can ask Auntie also for it. If you know Sister Ya's number, to ask her, and let's read. So Sister Ya, nail.
Okay. Nailed it. Okay. There are times when the word of God strikes you right between the eyes, literally. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, let us look at Galatians 5:24. It says, "Those who follow Christ Jesus have nailed their passions and desires of their sinful nature to his cross and crucified them there." I started to ask myself, have I really nailed my passions and desires to the cross and crucified them there? Have I really let go of my sinful nature? That is one tall order, don't you think? Impatience, getting easily irritated, anger, easily provoked, bitterness, mulling over old hurts, critical spirit, judging others, unforgiveness, holding grudges. I could go on and on. What does your list look like? Or maybe you are not a sinner like I am. The most beautiful lesson I have learned in recent times is the humility of coming before the Lord and attempting to confess my sins. I need to be honest and say I do not do it nearly enough. That is why I use the word attempting. This is perhaps because I have been conditioned not to do so. I have become desensitized to sin. Sin is not preached or talked about nearly enough in Christendom. It appears that we have been lulled into complacency that all is well with us. It may even border on self righteousness sometimes. Let us remember the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector in Luke 18:9 to 14. Which one are you, the Pharisee or the tax collector? I pray, Lord, that you would help me to always take the stance of the tax collector, that I would learn to beat my chest daily and cry out to you, God, have mercy on me, a sinner. Give us the grace, Lord, to resist sin, because our sin separates us from you. Oh, Holy Spirit, how we need you. How we need him.
Ooh. Auntie, yeah, you know how to ask interesting questions. So she can, if I am not a sinner, of course I'm not a sinner. My name is Holy Amma. I don't sin.
Really? We're unveiling. Today is the unveiling of Holy Amma into the Sin Amma.
Holy Amma, not Mother of God, cannot even pray for one sinner, not now, not forevermore. That is me. I don't sin. But you know, some of the ones that you recorded here are the ones a lot of us overlook.
Overlook, yeah.
So when people think of sin, we think of theft, we think of murder, we think of adultery, we think of fornication, we think of the big ones. Well, the interesting thing is, do sins have sizes? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But what we forget is the greatest of the sins, thou shalt not judge, is the greatest commandment. And I think if a lot of us don't make it to heaven, it will be because of that. Those of us who are self righteous and feel very holy,
I was
yeah,
going
we
to say,
judge people. And
isn't that our plastered on our foreheads?
yes, ma'am. As for me,
Ghana.
it's actually my name, Holy Amma.
Holy Amma.
I don't, I don't steal. I don't commit adultery. I don't murder people. But I judge people like heck. Mhm. Oh dear. So maybe I'm not very holy right now. Impatience was an interesting one, Lord Almighty. When those things begin to count as sins, you begin to see how dirty you are, just as anybody else. Somebody killed, but they started from impatience. Anger, to be easily provoked. Oh, Auntie, you were looking at me when you made this list.
I was looking at myself.
Bitterness, bitterness, bitterness to the core. Bitterness with poisons.
Yep.
Poison
That is a
ivy
big one.
bitterness. Bitterness which consumes you so totally that there is nothing left. Bitterness.
Yep.
That bitterness which erodes anything positive you have in your personality, in your arsenal. The bitterness which makes you overlook people's humanity. The bitterness which makes you so aggravated that you become so vindictive and you don't even realize
Ooh.
you become. And the danger you are to people when you are vindictive and it comes from bitterness. Critical spirits and judging other people. Now that's not criticism. Of course, I don't judge. I don't even criticize. I just admonish. Is that the same thing? And see,
Yes.
I don't criticize people. I only admonish. I don't be a sinner, right? No.
Say it as it is.
Oh,
There's a
I,
way. Sorry.
I'm hoping you ladies would just absolve me of all sins so I can continue to feel holy. I don't
No,
criticize anybody. I only admonish
Oh, so,
people.
is someone saying?
we are not here to make you feel good. We tell it. We tell it as it is.
Yes.
We are not into any feel good near maybe.
I only admonish people and I only tell them their faults. That's only not a problem.
But Amma, there's a way to do it. There's a way to do it. You do it in love, you do it constructively. But we, when I say we, you know the royal we and the collective we I'm talking about. We just throw knives. Look, let me give you an example. There's a lady, she's a gospel artist, very good one. Like she's doing, I don't want to mention names, but I happened to see it on Facebook. She did this interview recently. And so, of course, I go and I'm reading the thread. I didn't listen to the whole interview, but then two women like herself, and this is the language I'm going to use. They have a nerve and they have the audacity to tell her that, oh, so and so, you are good or this is, but your makeup is too much. How dare you? How dare you? How dare
How
you?
is that important anyway?
I know, like why? And a second example, there's another lady. She's also very well known in the community, playing on the beach with her little girl. One or two, I don't remember. Again, they have the audacity to say, oh, nice, blah, 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 but the little child doesn't smile. Really? The critical spirit, like, how dare you?
What am I contracting?
Sheila, we don't understand contract.
Well, see, we are counting saints here, and I ask the same question Sheila is asking. Some of us we don't criticize people. We just tell people as it is.
Right.
I'm like that.
We only say it as it is. We admonish people. We don't criticize. We don't judge. And then you look at admonishing and judgment and criticizing sometimes, and you are not sure where the line is because it's so fine. It's so difficult to tell. So when you are self-righteous, you would take the word admonish and you would tell people, you tell it as it is. And I'm like that. I like to tell people straight. But I've also come to know that the telling straight can easily turn into damaging people. It can be so destructive that if you are not careful with your telling it as it is brand, it becomes something else. And the line between when you tell it as it is clean and when you cross the line to become something else is so thin. Very difficult to spot. A lot of us have stepped the boundary and we don't realize. And see, I left the last one waiting because this one.
Okay, just before you go there, what you just said, I have an example, right?
Yes,
I had
please.
this. Maybe I'll go into a little tree. Nipa bi anamenene ye adwuma. Now, like this telling us this, you know, in that environment in which we are, the way they put things out, I think it comes out as abrasive or, you know, so or the pentokwa type thing. So, this person came to me and asked me that, oh, so how is it that, how am I able to craft, like even if something, as a bibiya mebufukra, something is frustrating, how am I able to craft it in the way in which I do? So what I'm trying to say is that it's a style. You have to know, ultimately, like you have to know how to phrase things and get your message across without being harsh and being destructive. Because when you put things on paper, it looks different. So even sometimes that's what we're told when you write an email, sit back, read it again, save it as a draft. Don't go flying it off in your gigi, read it again. And so that's the answer right there that, oh, I'm trying to say that you need to think through how you say things to people. Because if you're not careful, there are some people, they are so negative. They have anything they tell you is negative and then it gets your back up, right? And we need to tone it or refine it, get the message across without destroying somebody's feelings or, you know, their dignity or what have you. So
It is so important. And Shayla, yeah, you are right. The teacher in me is right there wanting to give feedback, always telling myself it's constructive. But actually, there is that fine balance between constructive feedback and just being destructive. And
yes.
because you have a play of words, because you have that authority with people, because your view matters to people, because people expect your feedback to be constructive, when you take the balance, it does more damage than you even anticipate. And there have been many, many times when I've caught myself, and I've caught myself in a position where the righteous part of me is thinking that I have given feedback. But when I've actually allowed myself to think, when I have allowed myself to feel, when I have reflected on it honestly, it has definitely bang out of order. Bang out of order. It was not telling anything as it is. It was just allowing your tongue loose. And that's interesting. Now that was dangerous. So I'm confessing to all the sins you listed. Atia, what did I do to you? Why are you publicly writing about my sins? Why do
I'm writing about my own sins.
you, Atia? What is this? Because every single one you've listed is almost like you looked inside my closet and you picked the ones that I'm hiding, the ones nobody sees, the ones everybody think I don't do. And then now,
That is the intent.
so now everybody knows. I think the greatest of my struggles is the very last one, unforgiveness.
Forgiveness.
Ah.
Oh, that one. Oh, that one.
Oh,
The elephant doesn't forget.
mhm.
And because the elephant doesn't forget, as
Oh
much
yes.
as the elephant wants to, the forgetting does not happen.
Oh.
When something has happened, the elephant is trying to even forgive. And whilst the elephant is trying to forgive and the forgetting doesn't happen, you always start the cycle every time you remember and you feel offended all over again. And then you get a little bit more angry each time. And then it becomes very difficult to forgive this person because the person is taking you on this journey you didn't want to go on in the first place. So those of you who know me, I always tell people, don't do it to me in the first place. Because once you've done it to me, it puts me in a very difficult position to try and forgive, which is not my natural talent. When you work out and see how to do this forgiveness, please send me the formula because
I'm learning myself. The question that I need to ask is, the people that we are, being unforgiven, do they even know we are still stewing about it?
Sometimes no.
most of the time they don't. Because most of the time, remember, this elephant is trying to forgive. And because the elephant is trying to forgive, these people think that you have forgiven because you are actually making an effort to forgive. But at the back of your mind somewhere, it's always there. Those of you who are capable of forgetting, I think you are very lucky. Those who can't forget always struggle with this one because the minute something small happens, which is similar to what happened the other time, before it actually goes from that thing to what it was the other time, all the reminders are in place and you start flagging yourself up. Woo! You have an issue. You have a big issue. Now, those of you who are watching, I would like to know, am I the only cat who can't forgive? Does anybody else struggle with this forgiveness thing?
You are not the only one.
It's
That
hard.
one is
You are not
difficult.
the only one, Amma, because sometimes too, you want to forgive, but we justify why we are not forgiving. Because sometimes you have
Yes.
people, you have people, let me tell you this, we have people who keep doing the same thing over and over again. They want to keep disrespecting you. And then the one time you say, hey, I'm not putting up with this, then you become the bad person. We have a lot of guilt in our, culture, whatever. It's always about, oh, and forgive, for say, but we don't hold people accountable. So they keep going around hurting us. So if I've put barriers around myself and I don't want you to come close and hurt me again, am I a sinner? Am I a bad person? I'm protecting myself because you are not learning. You are not learning not to do that, and I can't teach you. So what I have to do is to remove myself.
There are two sides to the story, and I know where you are going because I also see the same things all the time. So let's break the barriers now that you brought the topic on. What tends to happen is not that you are putting a barrier to protect yourself, because if you were only putting a barrier to protect yourself, you will exclude this person, but you will not remember them. You will not even cross your mind. They will be done. But what happens to people like me? We never get you out of our mind. When your name is mentioned, the bile rises even further. And we remember how we did us people to do something the other time.
Hey.
And then we plan how we will also pay you back at the next opportunity. And by the time I finish one episode of paying you back, it will be so spectacular. The devil will be applauding. That's a phenomenal job.
Oh my God, Amma.
That's a phenomenal job. Well done. So when the devil sends me the email thanking me for helping him with his job is when it finally clicks. Oh, ding, ding, dun, dun, you've done it again. Oh, you've done it again. But when I started, I didn't really intend to go and do any destructive work. I just wanted to protect myself. That's what we always say, right?
Mhm. Wow.
Oh, dear. Yeah. Does this resonate with you, or is this just simple Amma?
It's for everybody.
No,
So if you're related,
it's a problem. It's difficult to forgive for me too. Yeah,
Wow.
like
So not just me.
it's not just you,
nope,
not just you. It's hard work. Like
it is.
trying to forgive.
So
Like
when
you have
somebody
to.
offends you, they've killed you. They've created a problem for you.
Yes.
Well, especially some people, they think it's their right. They keep doing the same things over and over again, and nobody is holding them accountable. But you can't go around treating people how you like.
And it's especially people close to you.
Yes.
It's
Oh
worse
yeah.
with. Yeah, it's harder.
Yep. Ama, your eyes are rolling.
Just ask my kids when they offend me. And
Yeah.
yes, when my kids offend me, I also
Well,
roll it to the discipline package. I have very nice packages.
yeah.
Tell them if they need rescuing, they should call me.
A few times because see, I am actually paying them back for offending me, but I've also titled it as parental discipline.
Teaching them the lessons of life.
Mhm.
When anybody challenges me, I'll tell you I'm disciplining the kids. I'm disciplining the kids, and you realize it's a little bit vindictive, girl.
Oh gosh.
A little bit too vindictive, don't you think, girl? I'm like,
Mhm.
"Hi."
We've all been there.
Oh, you also have those conversations because the funny thing is, the person who will call me and tell me it was a bit vindictive is the devil himself, and I'm like, "Hi, devil."
Oh my goodness.
Hello. And every time I say hi, devil, the devil responds with hi, cousin. He's still there.
Cousin,
Cousin Star.
you have graduated.
You haven't had those conversations with devil, right? So this is just me being very personal with devil. No?
I haven't really assessed that.
Oh, Shayla, see, I am the queen of lip service when it comes
But
to
I
this.
do that for me, not for them.
I do that for me and I do those things, but at the very back of my mind is always there.
Mhm.
That's the most honest truth. I will move over or off the original anger. I can get over those things. You know, I don't even become upset about certain things over a certain period of time. But that knowledge of what you did,
Hmm.
if you know me and you think it's ever forgotten, then you're a bit stupid because it's never forgotten. It's there. And the next time you attempt to begin to do something akin to that thing, oof, the reminders keep flashing in at the speed of light. And my brain activates itself and it remembers, you remember what Russell did the other time? And then you remember what you did after that one? Mhm. Do you remember? And I'm like, yeah.
Hmm.
So in order not to let start the process in the first place, so she might not finish it, Amma. And then the sledgehammer comes down and
Hey.
it's done.
Hey,
The wrecking ball. And today Auntie Ya wants us to confess, so we are confessing.
Ama, you are not
Yes.
alone. What you've just described, You've probably described a whole bunch of women. You're speaking for people, even men. So it's our problem is that we are not honest enough to verbalize it. Yeah.
That's the thing. We get into these little false securities of we are righteous people, we are forgiving people, but at the very back of your mind, that little thought never goes. It's there. And the minute you see anything which reminds you of what started the whole thing before it became what it was, your alarm bells ring so loudly that you begin to see red. And logic, common sense, empathy, any feelings you have for humanity disappear. And the only thing you want to do is payback. And you label payback as protecting yourself.
True.
Do you recognize the payback hidden behind?
But you know, Amma, what you are describing, a lot of it happens because when situations come up, we, again, I say the royal we, the collective we, you know who I'm referring to. We don't know how to, if I have a problem with YAA, we don't know how to go to YAA and say, YAA, you did this, you offended me.
Right.
I'll go to Amma and say, oh no, YAA no say ni say ni say. Then I'll go to Ajo and say, oh no, YAA no say ni say ni say. I'll go to Sheila, oh no, YAA no say ni say. Next time YAA is walking past all those people, she sees a different reaction. So that's it right there.
Right.
You're confessing.
Into the royal we, in the collective we, no, we have a big problem.
We are confessing. Me, Auntie, I'm reading this your book. And as I'm reading this your book, it's almost like somebody. It's like acupuncture gone wrong.
How? Poki.
When acupuncture goes wrong, like acupuncture is supposed to target various hotspots, and it's supposed to suck ill energy out of you. But on this occasion, reading this your book, it's almost like you put pins in the cups, and you were not, you were just moving. And you were talking. Oh, I can feel so many pin pricks all over me. I'm like, oh, please suck the bad. Please don't cook. Because this one that you wrote over here with Galatians 5. And nailing passions and desires of sinful nature to great cross and crucifying them where until I'm sorry, explain that one to me, because this one I am interpreting it in a particular way. And to be honest, if the way you wrote it is how I'm interpreting it, then it's not going well. Please explain.
It is not. Amma, it is not going well because we read this, right? You and I, you're back kind way, but do we actually do it? I don't. So that's why I wrote that, look, it's difficult. Okay, let me give you an example. You get up this, every day where we're supposed to pray and confess our sins. How many of us do that? Oh, sorry, and then you are praying, God, I want this, protect me, I'm going out, this. So this is a way of just,
But we don't sin. What are we confessing?
To break, and then
We do.
We haven't sinned. Confessing.
But that's then that's our self-righteousness.
No, we haven't killed. We have not stolen. We have not committed adultery. We have not fornicated.
There was a time at some deaconess, one of my old churches, was say every time you come and stand, you preach fornication. There's other sins, gossiping and this and that, right? We are selective about the sins, selective sins.
Yes. There's 4 sins. Actually, the rest of them are not sins. They are sinlets, baby sins. That's how a lot of us program ahead. They are sinlets. You are either stealing, or you are killing, or fornicating, or coveting somebody's property. It could be wife, it could be anything. But many will be idea.
That's false humility. Look at me, I'm so perfect. My name will be out there.
This table you are shaking.
Amma,
it.
This is the point. No dear, we are. It's not. It's totally lacking. It's missing. And I'm not sitting here saying that I've got it all, but I'm saying that sometimes we need to face the truth. And
Yeah.
I'm somebody, I tell things the way it is. So if you won't take it from my lips, I mean, this is a book I wrote, and maybe it will help us all to think through things and reconsider and change some things personally, right? Personal change affects global change. And anyway.
You know, it's very interesting how my friends are texting me over here who have seen the feed. And one of the things my friend was saying is that the very things I am sharing are the secrets everybody holds and everybody hides and nobody wants to admit to. And so all of us are trying to pretend this picture perfect scenario because we don't want other people to know our truth. The sad reality is that that's a lot of us actually pretending. And if only one or two of us would have broken the ceiling and would have told the truth about the struggles we have, if we will acknowledge, then yeah, it would make life a whole lot easier for everybody. It would make life a whole lot easier for many. Auntie, you've written something here again about becoming desensitized to sin. Look, I am from Bridgeport. Please explain that sentence to me. Because if my limited understanding is explaining this thing to my head, then again, we have another problem. Please explain.
Okay. Pastor P, good morning. Oh.
Hey!
Pastor P.
Also explain desensitized to sin.
Yes, ma'am.
Amma, how many times do you go to church that you are hearing a message about sin coming from the pulpit? How many times do you hear an altar call, like, say, there are preachers that I listen to that every time they finish preaching, they call people, if you have not given your life to Christ, this. You see, right now, we've become so influenced by, and this is just my opinion, we become so influenced by the society around us. Somebody has this, that's what I want. Somebody has that, that's what I want. So we're only interested in the creations. I always make this statement, not the creator.
Ooh.
We seem to have lost something along the way. Our faith or Christianity is more about what we can get. I want a husband, I want a child, I want a car. It's not about getting to know God for himself. So we are not changed. Matoto bomb newie.
I need to pass. Oh my God. I've lost my head. Oh, that was a grenade. That was a grenade. But yeah, what I wanted to do with this session, in fact, was to introduce those of you who've bought the book. I know a few people have bought the book, but you are actually reading the book the way you would read a fictitious story. And I really wanted to model how this book might be best read. You read the book, you take your time and have a discussion with a few people, you interact and reflect. Because sometimes you read something and you have a perception of what it could mean, but somebody else will give you a totally different spin on it. And when you have that discussion is where you can take it from just passive reading to active revolution of life as a result of the reading you are doing. And that's when reading has actually had the best impact, if you like, on life. So hopefully those of you who are listening in, even if you've not read the book, you are getting the journey from the discussions we are having, and you might be tempted to go on the journey yourself. If you want to go on the journey yourself today with us, do contact Antia via the information she's put on the feed. We will happily share the PDF extracts that we are reading with you. But the better thing to do is actually to use the link and go to the Amazon site and buy the book. And yes, we will read different chapters, maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks, and reflect on them. Because actually, what we've done today is so profound for me. It's allowed me to reflect on some of my dark cupboards. And those cupboards, I do not open them easily. Because when I open them, I see some scary ghosts. And I don't like it. I don't like it. It is just convenient to close it, to nail it, and to put concrete over them and hide them in the corner and pretend they are not there. But that's also counterproductive because it means that you don't grow beyond some of these things. So becoming desensitized, that's an interesting one. Antia,
Mm-hmm.
so in this community of ours that you are calling desensitized, could
Mm-hmm.
that have something to do with the new Tracy Butcher syndrome that we are beginning to see in our community?
You know something?
I knew I was going to go there.
Yeah, it almost seems
I
like
didn't see it
the
coming.
moral fiber of the society, it's at an all-time low.
It doesn't
Like
exist.
where the things that are being lifted up and people looking up to,
Yes, man.
it just beats me, right? I was watching this person, they're a singer, and then they come to a studio and they're wearing this and all this here, their melons are all like we're just it's I don't know, people, like go after, especially the women, the young girls. So the only way you can get ahead in life is by using your, what, akosua kuma or your tonga. It's like you have what about this up here? You
Which
see,
one?
I've seen the brain, the mind. I always say your mind is your greatest asset. you know, it's very sad because there's women who, let me drink some water. Excuse me. I know of women, right? Growing up, all they've been taught is that um you're kind of saying they are beautiful. They focus on physical. It's like, beauty, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful. What about when you age, when you get to 50, when you get to even don't even try that 40, like what else do you have going for you?
Yeah.
Hey, Auntie, yeah. Auntie, are these numbers you are calling out are not friends?
Too close to home.
What about the numbers?
Auntie, start from 70, please.
Sorry?
Start from 70 and go up. Those people are the old
No,
ones.
we have to be realistic. Somebody might be listening to this, they'll learn something. The way they are going is not the right way. You see, sometimes we can come outside and portray something, but inside maybe something else is going on. At the end of the day, are you happy?
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
No, as a person, as a woman, and women, you see, I always say, well, if you get me off on this tangent, I might not stop talking, but I'm saying that the way we are programmed as women in our culture has a lot to do with all this. So if you're
Yes.
going to tell me I'm only valuable as somebody who cook and clean after a man, as somebody who do this, who do that, and there's nothing more to me, you've put me in a box.
Ooh.
And meanwhile, I believe God created me. There's something in me that I need to share with the world. We are not here by ourselves. We are selfish people. We think we're here to just do our own thing, but you are here to impact others. It's because your mother has told you that, oh, go and chase, go and chase, go and chase, use this to get this, use this. It's a poverty too. Because of poverty, families are putting their children into prostitution. They don't call it that, but that is what it is. No wonder they want to call people a shower all the time. So I don't know. Mama, and some adults, it's like, it's very sad to watch.
I
I have
know.
2 daughters. So should I be telling them that this is how you get ahead in life, or should I tell them go to school and do something with yourself? What is our message?
Well, where do you want me to start from? The message
Mm.
is that it comes from as long
Let me say properly.
we don't care where it comes from as long as we get it, especially if we get it in the shortest possible time,
Mm.
spending out of effort. And that's actually where the flaws come, because most people don't realize that lying on your back and letting any food download is a very difficult job.
Yeah, download.
You- After that one, there is a mirror to look in, and there is self-disgust which follows. And then there is the worry about what other people see you as because you are disgusted with self. And how that affects you psychologically is never explained. Never explained. And so you have girls like Tracy who will come in and would say, I got a house in East Legon. They don't tell you the difference you suffer to get those houses. They don't tell. So I have a friend. This friend of mine decided that she was going down that line. And at the moment, the last time we talked about it, she says, when you made your decision and I made my decision, we talked. And she laughed at me. She called me a fool. That I wanted to make what should be a painless exercise painful because I'm actually not too ugly. I mean, she's beautiful. I'm not too ugly. But I could have done away with what she was doing as well. And so the last time she calls me, she says, after 2 decades of trying this, I have a confession to make. I'm like, okay, let's talk. And she says, how I wish I had made the alternative choice. I'm like, did you actually say that? She says, yes. I'm like, why? She says, well, the guy we are with, I used to be the youngest of the girls.
Oh, yeah.
At the moment, he's actually hanging with girls who could be my daughters. So now I have to inflate this place. I have to tighten this place. She cannot get out of her own bedroom without makeup. And she always has to be on point with this and that and that. And she was telling me she watches a few of the videos when I'm sat. Sometimes I may not even have combed my hair. I don't care. Sometimes I might have a stupid bow in my hair. I still don't care.
It's cute. It's not
And then and she realized that the choices she's made and the competition she's managed to bring onto herself from people she cannot compete with, and how difficult that pressure is to maintain as you. And by the time you realize you've made a mistake, it's actually almost too late to rectify that mistake. And I was thinking, so maybe women like you also need to start talking so that those who are glorifying the activity at the moment also have the alternative view available for people who are just about to make that choice. Because the reasons why you made that choice was because you didn't know this
right.
outcome. You didn't know the loneliness. And she was telling me how awful it is when the guy will call her at 1 a.m. sometimes and say, turn up to such a hotel. She has a kid, but she has to leave her kid unattended whenever the guy calls. So her kid is waking up most mornings not knowing where she is. Frustrating thing is that this boy has seen it so many times now, he knows it's the norm.
Wow.
So if something were to happen to his mom in town one night, he would not even know to look for his mother because,
Normal.
mom's never here when you wake up. So sometimes boys going to sleep and he's like, will you disappear before I wake? Let me kiss you in the morning. Yeah, it's a bit sad. But these stories are never, these harsh realities of those choices, Antia, are never shared in the community. And so a lot of people think that it is the easier alternative. But when you weigh them pound for pound for the psychological onslaught and the disrespect and other things you face, I think it's a lot harder than going to sweat for money. But that's me. I'm from Bripro. Yes, Shayla, it's Bripro. Do you know what it actually means? Bripro means the food becomes ripe and there is nobody to eat it, so it goes rotten.
Oh,
It's
Bripro.
food. Bripro. Don't ask me which region it's in because I don't.
Amma,
Yes, Auntie.
the scenario that you just gave, that man in that situation,
Yeah.
I'm just going to hold my thoughts. No.
Can I tempt to hold it, but to give us a small figment of your thoughts?
This is why I say again, the way we are programmed. So you are just there to satisfy a man. And look at him going all over the place. I mean, she's probably okay, but has she stopped to think that of what diseases she could be getting from him?
No, she needs to have a shot every 3 months. because she usually gets infected.
Wow.
Oh,
She has to have a shot, so she gets the contraception shots because she doesn't dare go down that route anyway. And then she has to do the medical screening for this guy's purpose. But then somehow, in this arsenal of women, somebody always manages to bring an infection and it spreads. So they have to have the shots on a regular basis as well. And it is at a hospital of his choice to be screened. Like a
who
man,
the
Wow.
heck is he? I'm
eh?
sorry, I'm getting angry. Who the heck is this man?
I don't know. This man,
He's a
okay,
king of the castle?
no, has a bubble too. That's it. Yeah, I like how angry everybody is, especially me. But
Hmm.
yeah, these
No.
are some of the truths that these girls forget to tell. They don't tell you that they normally, so there's these stories about, and he took me to Dubai. They didn't even know when they were going to Dubai. A lot of them found out on the morning that they were going to Dubai. And they had to be very jolly on their way to Dubai with no preparation, no planning. And yes, some of those things, I think it's worth reflecting, it's worth putting this information out so that, well, I'm trying not to be judgmental, but as we've already discussed, I am a sinner. So judgment is one that I attempt to do every now and again, and I correct myself. But I like to say that we admonish instead of judging, and I feel much better. But Auntie has decided to shake trees, so today we'll let apples fall. I'm not the one who
No.
are apples falling. Is anybody uncomfortable? Or is it just me feeling the heat? So I'm sure feeling it.
They're
Oh,
very
Sister
serious.
Yaya, let me come to you.
Wow.
We've read two pieces, and these two pieces are playing havoc with my head. So I am not going to suffer alone. Sister, yeah, tell me what's going on in that beautiful
In
head of
my head.
I want
Well, it was the same for me when I was reading the list, but I think mine is the impatience and getting easily irritated. And I think it also comes from, I have never thought about this. I always thought, I mean, I hate like stupid talk. And I kind of feel like some things you don't have to say or some things you should know. So it's hard for me most of the time, like when people are talking to me, I get easily irritated and I tune you out, you know? And sometimes it does get me into arguing with you and then it turns sour. So I thought the alternative would be just ignore and tune you out. But I see that's a problem too. And it's a sin, actually, not a problem, it's a sin. And I don't know how to get out of that because it's really hard for me. And on the issue of the desensitization, it's what you're saying. Like, I didn't know even up to now that that's what they go through, you
to.
know, because it looks all rosy. And yeah, the only thing I thought they went through was that maybe you won't have him when you want him, it's only when he wants you. But I didn't think about all these, like, he calls you, you're there, you have to take shots. And I never really thought about all that. And it's really sad.
Yeah.
And as you
Somebody
say,
made a
if
comment
someone
about it
should
being
be brave
slavery.
enough, yeah, yeah, it's like slavery. If someone should be brave enough to come out and really tell our girls like what it really is, yeah, it will be a good thing. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's one of the things, sensitization will happen when more people begin to talk about it.
Yeah.
And the reason why Antia's word about desensitization struck a chord really because we no longer discuss what's right and what's wrong. At the moment, in this current climate, people are beginning to make noises about everything being okay to do. But again, those who are telling you that things might be okay. So, Auntie, I think you may be aware of it. I was talking about there was a video I put out 2 weeks ago about people who are beginning to dibble and dabble in these new norms. And a couple of people's scenario I shared on the video. Somebody who's decided that they were going to play with the sex toys. They are toys, right? They are harmless, playful things. But then when you apply these things, it's a physiological area. And those physiological areas don't understand the fun and games. They respond to anything the way they respond to any intruding thing. And they get used to what they get used to. And when you get used to certain things and you're looking for a human to mimic what is run by batteries, sometimes you discover that the human doesn't run on batteries, unfortunately. But you will make that discovery after you've experienced the batteries, and then you have to go back and associate with a human. Those who were psychologically prepared, those who knew what they were doing, they probably will be fine going forward. But those from Bripro like me, who should be conscientized about what will happen in the long term, that you don't play and then discover and cry. That you actually ask questions about all these things. And there is this story about a threesome. No, an open marriage is the one I shared, an open marriage. So the threesome story was somebody who decided he wanted a threesome. And because he's dumb, he wanted a threesome and he agreed for another woman to come to the threesome because he thought that that would be for his pleasure. The thing is, as this was happening, like it's a three-way street, right? So there is interaction between the two women too.
Oh my goodness.
His wife also discovered a better alternative. So in his little mind, it was for him.
Right.
Even in his wife's mind, it was for him. She came along because she didn't have a choice, and he bulldozed his way, right? So they bring this other woman in. And unbeknown to them, this other woman is a threesome specialist, right? So this other woman is receiving from him, and he's really enjoying it because it's new meat. But this other woman was also delivering something onto the wife, which was also new meat. It was a very wonderful experience.
Hey.
So he's yelling about,
Wow.
then he heard his wife screaming, yelling about to enjoy. And then he got confused. What is she enjoying?
Hey.
Same thing you're enjoying.
What is she?
Wow.
And where's the confusion? Now he started the whole thing and now he has a problem. You have to be careful sometimes with what you start. But it's difficult for you to know some of these things until people begin to sensitize you about the alternative occurrences so that we don't go exploring into things we don't get and we don't understand.
So,
Yeah.
Amma,
Yes, ma'am.
the question that I need to ask is, so with all this exploring and what have you, so these people, when they got married, doesn't the marriage contract mean anything? Or we've forgotten about that?
No, but the contract was for the woman to help him.
No, I'm saying it's a worry for me. No. You are or you are a couple or you have an agreement with each other, you are together. And you are not respecting that. Afraid go bring like don't
so say when the encatifying some unbeknown to him, it's the ya preference. It is not the fufu. Who so busy the ya preference one chase is
I'm out there can proper say there's you have a suit coming.
And we are brave pro.
The funny thing is, you will sue me and you will get 3 rocks. That's all I have in my
Oh, really?
nothing to gain. So I'm not afraid of a lawsuit at all. Sue me.
Sue the pants off you.
Auntie, this tree you have shaken, eh?
Wow.
And some of the trees, it has fallen. That has fallen from this tree. We are going to have a long time making lemonade out of some of them. Lemonade out of others. And some you will think, hey, now you're because we some
Okay, shaky, shaky.
But it's wonderful. I think this is a very good exercise for parents to try and do with your kids. I think it's a wonderful exercise to mimic with your spouse, even as a group of friends, network of friends. It is very good to have these discussions and to allow the discussion to move as freely. So, what I wanted to do was model some of the conversations you can have around the book. So, you are not just reading the book, you are reading the book and you are drawing parallels from the book, you are sharing experiences, and you are actually using that to connect with your friends, to connect with your family members, to learn together, to dissect occurrences in the community, discuss morality, discuss Christianity, and take the conversation as deep or as light as you want. The point I wanted to make is that we could read this very lightly, or we could also take it very far, which is what we've done. We've taken it places that you would not have expected a book would take you, because we wanted to give it that freedom. And it's entirely up to you, whichever way you want to do it. But I think Antia has a great book for anybody who wants to read it. Yes. Oh, Sage, it's an amazing book. It's all, it's very well
Thank you,
written,
Sage.
so easy to relate. You can relate to it so easily, and you can do with it as you please. It is so versatile that you can do so many things with it. And Auntie, I thank you so much for writing it.
Thank
I
you.
am honored that I got and I get to read from you and I get to learn from you. I
Really?
problem with some of the thought processes after I read some of your stuff. And that's the only occupational hazard we have right now. But that's my confession. Sister, yeah, what about you? What does this book do to you?
Oh, this book, I think I've been reading it too lightly. Although it gets me to think about myself. Like there are some that it's what do you think about that chapter? It says take stock, because I never really actually took
Yes.
stock of what I can do, what do I want to do, where am I at, how to get better, and all that. And funny enough, after that chapter two, that was when Auntie started telling me you have to start your videos, and then every week she was, yeah. So it made me start, because then I went back and then I looked at what is it that is stopping me from actually putting my foot forward. And so yeah, but now that we did this too, I know that I can think more outside the box and think about things also going on around me and how it affects me and other people and how I can help as well. So yeah, it's a really good read. I have my
Thank you.
copy right here, yeah. And yeah. And I liked what you said about the children too, because
Yeah,
this can help us change the next generation, how they think and all
absolutely.
that. Yeah. So yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a good read. Yeah.
And so, yeah, so it must be very frustrating that you write your book with an intention, and foolish women like Amma take your book and they take it to very strange places.
No, 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 not at all. It's, you know what? You can set out with a plan, but you always have to be flexible to know that it can go this way or it can go like, things can come at it and add to make it what it's supposed to be. It's good insights. I'm always open to those insights. So I'm not a, what do you call it, an inflexible person. So that's why my my daughter Nana, she goes, Mom, for somebody who was born in 19 Sakojohoho, you are okay. You're all right. Or people tell them your mom is different. I'm going, yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
be.
That is so true. That
Yeah.
is so, so true. I hope the audience have enjoyed it. I hope that we have at least begun a thought process for you. I do hope that those of you who haven't got copies of the book and want to buy the book, if you look in the feed, you will see the link to purchase the book. We will read another chapter in the next couple of weeks or so, and I would invite you to tell us what you've also discovered reading. Today was just the introduction to the book and to a few sections from a chapter. And yeah, I think that gives you a flavor of the kind of book it is and what you can expect to see when you purchase the book to read. So I highly recommend that you do go get the book. It's going to be one of the books that we read quite frequently over the next 6 to 8 weeks, and we get the most out of. And then we tempt Auntie Ya to write the second book.
Yeah.
It's in the works.
So unless anybody has a specific question, I would love to thank you so much. Hi, Nanaraba. Oh, you caught us at the end. Please rewatch for me. I would like to thank all of you for coming. Sister Ya, thank you so, so much. You read
Thank-
so much.
Thank you.
Joy of your place.
What?
And Auntie Ya, you write superbly. Really,
Thank
really.
you.
It's well written. It was so well read that I thoroughly
How many?
Hey.
So thank you
Do.
all, and hopefully we will catch up with you in the next couple of weeks or so. Goodbye.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.